Get into our topics.
Truth,
It's not
lies,
Ross.
shenanigans.
All right, our main
What you
topic
got,
today, Rob B, you want to talk about this party plane.
Oh, baby, do I. Ah. So, a group of approximately 130 Quebec travelers are facing fines that could be in the thousands, if not more, after videos showing them partying without masks on board a Sunwing flight from Montreal to Cancun have come to surface. So now several images and videos from the December 30th flight showed passengers flouting public health measures, partying in the aisle, vaping, passing around a bottle of hard liquor. Now, the 6 day getaway was organized by James William Awad's members only 111 private club with passengers including influencers and reality TV personalities. You know, the best among us.
The best.
So, several passengers have since tested positive for COVID 19, and they had to follow Mexico's COVID regulations, and any stay beyond the 6 days was not covered by the organizer. Rebecca St. Pierre, the first passenger who tested positive for COVID 19, is isolating in Mexico, acknowledged that the videos give an accurate representation of what went on during the 5 hour flight to Cancun. She later went on to tell the Canadian press that the promoter simply abandoned everyone. So, being stuck in Mexico on your dime is one thing, but it gets worse better. The Quebec influencers were on they were on their way to Mexico on the chartered plane, and they were set to return to Canada on January 5th. Sunwing refused to fly the travelers back to Canada because they didn't agree to the
Mm.
airline's terms and conditions, most notably that no food would be served during the 5 hour flight. So
Oh,
many apparent that was one of the sticking points for some of the travelers. So now many passengers remain stranded in Mexico after at least 3 airlines have said that they will not fly these people back. Wait, it gets worse better. The Canadian Departments of Transport, Public Safety, and Health have all launched investigations into the incident. So they could be looking at fines of up to $5,000 from Transport Canada for each offense on board. Someone found guilty of endangering the lives of others and causing harm could face up to 3 years in prison and up to $1 million in fines. Additional fines
child.
and jail times could follow if passengers are found to be endangering others and if they provided any falsified information upon their return to Canada. So I turn it over to you, my co host. What do we do with these fools? How are they getting home?
All right, let's start with Lizzie.
Do I care? Do I care how they get home? Like, pre pandemic, I traveled a lot. And I'm always amazed by people who get on planes, which flying is a very um, anxious, you're full of anxiety to begin with.
Mhm.
People who get on planes who cannot sit down and follow the goddamn rules. Like I've never understood that. People who
Follow
are
the
so entitled, it's just like, listen, listen. We're trying to get from point A to point B. You knew, and this goes for the airline. Y'all knew that you weren't supposed to be eating on that plane. You knew that you were supposed to have your mask on. You knew that you weren't supposed to be in the aisle partying, whoop, 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 twerking and living it up. Like, come on, sit down and act right. Like, I don't understand why actual adults fail to get this concept. So I don't care how they get home. They can linger in Cancun for the rest of their lives, as far as I'm concerned. I don't care.
What do you
I
think,
don't care.
Tiani?
I think that eventually, after they do the follow the rules for the first time and actually quarantine where they are at, I think they'll let them go. But I think they will have to face a lot of consequences. Letting them go meaning they'll let them travel via plane back home. But like listen, I don't care. Shoot, I,
Mm-mm.
even besides the COVID rules, that what are you doing that in the middle of the air? Like it's a plane. Like have respect for yourself. So I don't care what
And
happens
it's
to them
also a
personally.
privilege. It's not a right. Like, you don't have the right to get on a private airline and act a fool. It's a privilege to be there in the first place.
All right.
It is.
So I agree with you. I mean, I agree they were stupid. They were dumb because I'm definitely against all this anti-masking and all that stuff. They should definitely be protecting themselves. But let me ask you,
Here
what's
we
the
go.
difference between this and people choosing to get together for like private family gatherings and eat and choose to go maskless? Because this was a privately chartered jet. So, I get if they were on a passenger plane. Sure, the optics are bad when you're looking at all this, but really, what's the difference? Do you feel like there's a difference, Rob?
Absolutely,
I
because
feel that
the
there's a difference.
airline. Go ahead, Rob. Go ahead,
Yeah,
Rob.
this is 130 strangers. The only tie that they have is the promoter being members of his club. That's the only thing that these people have in common. So when you're getting together with your friends and your family, you're taking your precautions, you're doing your background checks, you're acting in people's best interest because these are the people that you love. That is, of course, if you're not a selfish, entitled asshole like some of these people might be. And to be fair, there's 130 of them, and the footage shows a handful of them. So I'm not going to lambaste all of them with
Okay.
the same brush because I know some of them came off the plane and said, they
So
distanced
they
themselves. Like,
so they didn't
they
like it.
got off the
There's
plane.
some
They
people
said
that didn't like it and weren't
some
partying.
I
people
don't know, Rob. You look at
disassociated
the
themselves from
pictures.
that.
You look at those
Well,
pictures. It's a little bit more than a
It looked
handful.
like everyone was involved.
oh,
That's why
it
I'm
looks like
asking
a lot
because
of
it
people.
feels like everyone made the decision. I don't know that I saw anyone with a mask at all. So, in
But
what
I
I
did
saw,
see 130 people in those pictures and videos.
fair
So
enough.
I'll give a handful of them the benefit of the doubt because you know what, you could be a victim of circumstances, and that would be, if I was on that kit. First of all, I'd take the cash value. It's a pandemic. I'm not traveling to Mexico during a
There you
pandemic,
go. First and foremost.
right? Take the
There you
cash
go.
value. But if you did decide to take the trip because you were younger and you thought this was a wonderful opportunity for your media influence, um, then you might find yourself in a bad situation where everyone else is acting the fool and you thought that this was going to be a legitimate opportunity.
Real quick, Robin Johnson says they put the lives of the workers in danger. The workers didn't ask
Mm,
for all that. So even if
exactly.
I can see
Absolutely.
that point
Yeah.
of view, even if the
Um,
you know even though you charter a jet and everyone maybe says, okay, we're going to party and we're just going to have fun. The workers
yeah,
didn't ask for that. I agree with that. What were you going to say,
exactly.
Lizzie?
And the
Oh, good.
unions are asking for strict consequences on these people. And that's if people representing those workers on the plane are asking for strict consequences.
Lizzie, you were going to say something?
I think this is a symptom of, again, the times that we live in. I've been on a couple of charter flights, right? Doesn't mean there aren't still rules and regulations. Just because you charter the flight does not mean you own the plane. There are rules. There are rules that you have to adhere to. And if you just look at the picture that Neo put up there, like that doesn't even look like an actual airplane. That looks like somebody's
It looks like a
party at
party
a
plane.
club. Exactly.
Yeah, it
Not
does.
even a party plane though. That looks like a club or
Yeah,
maybe a party bus.
yeah.
Like
Mhm.
that's not how we have, designed the aeronautical experience in this country. You don't fly like
No.
that
And
unless you own the fucking plane.
the vaping
The
could have set
look
off
at
the
old girl. Look
fire.
at old girl. Look at old
It
girl
could
with
have
the
Yeah,
set off the
smoke.
the
fire
vaping.
systems.
Yeah,
It could have set off the
And
fire
so
systems in
yeah.
on the
It's
plane.
more than the COVID issue with this. They're just
yeah,
ridiculous.
it's
Yeah,
all of it.
it
It's
is.
all of it. So I don't feel sorry for them at all. There are consequences to your turn up. There are consequences
All
to
right,
your
we
actions.
got to get to our
So
next topic. So Jacqueline Robinson says, Johnny, do you have anything you wanted to add? Give you a couple of seconds.
I was gonna say, I wonder if they didn't make the videos go viral, if they would have gotten so much
Hmm.
outlash from people.
Well, I
yeah.
mean, that's the whole thing.
No,
Of course not, because now we see it.
Now we
Uh,
have the evidence.
yep. Mike Winter, the first and only thing I said was, whose airline is that?
it
And
looked like a Spirit airline plane. It looked like a Spirit airline. Nonsense.
Jose points out two travelers have also lost their jobs. Latoya
Mhm.
Oh,
Blakely, dumbasses. I'm usually empathetic for people who get COVID. Shit like this right here has completely exhausted my empathy reserves. Shaking my fucking head. I'm sick of people treating COVID like it's a joke when millions have died, then crying when they see stuff happen like this. Jacqueline Robinson says, so they chose to get high during a 5-hour flight knowing they would get the munchies on a trip with no food would be served. Too stupid to let the outdoors, too stupid to be let outdoors in broad daylight without an escort. Mike Winner says, the privilege of it all. It sure is a long drive to Montreal. I would make them drive.
Yep.
I would
And
make them drive.
George Fournier says, as much as I would want to travel right now, I choose not to. This is completely irresponsible and careless on their part. I feel no sympathy for them in this situation whatsoever,
None.
and they are out of
None.
pocket or fined for what they deserve.
Yep.
All
The
right.
last time I was on a plane was in July of 2019. So of course I'm very antsy. I want to travel, but it's shit like this that makes me like, okay, I gotta stay, quarantine.
Yep.
Gotta stay quarantined because folks don't know how to act.
You don't? All right. And we're still talking. Is this truth, lies, or shenanigans? Truth, lies, or
And
shenanigans?
oh, I'm sorry. I'm
Shenanigans.
sorry.
And some
I'm
bullshit.
sorry. Where did my There we go. There we go.
What is it? You have to say it. Shenanigans.
It's all
Just
bullshit. It's the bullshit.
no,
It's the bullshit.
I can't
no.
hear you, Gianni.
And
Shenanigans.
when I say bullshit, I'm talking about the circumstance with the people who did this. Not,
Yeah, who
that
chose
they're
this.
being not that they're being punished, but them
Toya
in
says
general.
pure shenanigans.